It's been a long time, yeah. It's been a long time.
So I know I've mentioned this a few times, but my wife and I have 5 daughters and we recently moved to this new house. And for the downstairs area, we've purposely wanted to keep this completely open for the kids to run around, kick balls, play tag, shoot Nerf guns, practice gymnastics, and overall just do what kids do best, which usually involves them breaking stuff. Now, the only problem with this is I also want a spot where we can all hang out as a family and watch movies together, but that involves some very expensive equipment that would 100% be broken within 2 weeks down here. So my challenge in today's video is to build an epic, top-of-the-line, family-friendly entertainment area that'll give me the home theater I've always wanted, but do it in a way that takes up minimal space, keeps the basement an area where the kids can be kids, and I'm not worried about $15,000 worth of equipment getting destroyed. So without further ado, let's begin. Now you can probably see how dirty the walls are in this back nook area, which means the first order of business is to give everything a fresh coat of white paint. And because this is my basement and there's no windows, the white paint is going to help ensure that this area stays bright and cheery. Plus, I'm absolutely going to be adding some custom LED lighting, so it'll be great for that as well. So with that being said, I did have my eye on a couple really big ticket items, and thankfully, those brands were more than happy to send out the products for me to use in this video. Now this was the first item to show up, and it arrived in a crate made of wood, because I guess if you're spending a ton of money on something, they spare no expense when it comes to shipping. Once you get the side panel off, you'll find 3 very large boxes. The top 2 are heavy, but not impossible to handle with one person, but the bottom one is about double the weight, and I highly recommend you finding a friend to help with that one. So after about 3 more weeks, everything for the project had finally arrived, and I brought down all the boxes to my basement, which is where the fun begins. Now these first 3 boxes are what arrived in that wooden crate and holds arguably the most important part of the setup, which is the main cabinet from the company Nothing Projector. Now I first heard about this company about 2 years ago when Rob over at The Hookup tested a bunch of ALR screens, and one from Nothing Projector got the award for best value. But other than screens, they also sell projectors, and they offer the biggest variety of motorized cabinets that come in a bunch of different color options. Now 100% the main reason why I decided to go this motorized cabinet route is because when you're not watching a movie, everything will retract in, which means all the expensive equipment will be protected from whatever crazy stuff my kids do down here. Next is the actual screen, and I went with Nothing Projector's Black Series 120-inch floor-rising ALR screen. And because my basement is a light-controlled environment, I'm able to go with a lower gain screen. This one is 0.6, which will help with producing deeper blacks as well as better viewing angles, so no matter where my family sits, it'll look good. So the other big ticket item is the UST projector, and I went with what's considered by most to be the best one on the market, which of course is the AWOL 3500 Pro. This is their flagship model and wins pretty much every award there is in the ultra short throw space. First start unboxing the cabinet, and these are all handmade, so the quality is going to be infinitely better than if you've ever bought a media console off Amazon, Wayfair, IKEA, or any of the other big box outlets. I ended up deciding to go with a matte white finish, and I'm fully aware that it's going to get dirty, and I'll have to clean it frequently, but I wanted it to better fit in with the aesthetics that I'm going for down here. As I move on to the second box, this one's going to be the center part of the unit, and this one has all the mechanisms and moving parts that will automatically open and close with the UST projector. Because this has all those extra components, it is about double the weight of the outer cabinets. And you'll see this later on, but if you're putting this on plush type carpet like I have instead of hardwood floors, due to the weight, you'll need to use some shims to adjust this since it'll sink down lower than the others. And finally, I'll slide the third piece in place. Now these are just butted up against each other, and other than unboxing, there's no assembly required, which is a nice change of pace for me. Moving on to the 120-inch floor-rising screen, and this is very heavy and very well packed. And once you get everything out, make sure to stick the included black pads to the 4 movable square metal plates underneath. Using these pads, besides preventing scratches, will raise the underside high enough to slide any cords and wires you might have outside the media console into the cabinet. Next, I can move the subs back into their place and get them pushed up against the wall, and this is going to hide the power cord coming down from the wall speakers, plus cover up the LED wires as well. And finally, I'll put the screen back in, and then push the cabinets as close to the wall as possible, and then I'll use some shims to raise up the center part of the media console to get it as level as possible with the others. So this cabinet screen combo comes with a USB splitter that you'll plug into the back of the projector. Then you'll plug in the white dongle that comes with the screen to one of the openings. This is what will trigger the screen to automatically go up when you turn the 3500 Pro on. You'll also find a USB cord in the cabinet, and you'll plug that in as well, because this will trigger the tray to expand at the same time. I'll put the projector in the cabinet and then get the surround sound wireless receiver reconnected, connect my one HDMI cable from the fancy LED sync box, and finally the power. Once that's all done, I'll push the button on the cabinet controller and everything will automatically close up. Here's what it now looks like with the trim piece inserted. I'm running all my wires through the notches from the router bit and it hides all the ugly cords behind. And if I did make the notches a little bit larger, the board would sit more flush with the bottom. And I ended up doing the same thing on the other side to hide the cords from my wireless router and PS5. Well, my idea is finally starting to come together. The space still looks and feels like a play area. They now have some nice comfy chairs to relax and read books on, and we didn't have to get rid of anything. And in case you're wondering, we purposely don't want anything on the walls and we don't want shelves down here because that stuff doesn't hold up well when they're down here with their friends playing soccer. But when we want to watch a movie, we can now simply slide the chairs out, move them together, get the popcorn, and we're ready to go. Now there is going to be one area of compromise, and that's with the rear surround sound speakers. I'd love to hear any creative mounting ideas y'all might have that would keep them safe and out of the way when not being used, but for now, if we want to watch a movie, I plan on taking the extra 30 seconds to bring them out of the closet and set them up. And guys, pushing the power button and seeing everything come to life is obviously super cool, but the fact that a $5,000 projector and a $1,500 screen is safely tucked away when not in use, in my opinion, is why a lot of people would buy something like this. And as you're seeing this in action, I want to point out that you can save the height of the screen and how far the projector comes out so that when you turn everything on, it'll go to the exact same spot every time. Now this back area where my screen is has two overhead lights positioned right above, and if you're still on the fence over how effective ambient light rejecting screens are, these next few examples will be eye-opening. First off, ALR screens are designed to reflect light from below back to the viewer, but the majority of light coming from above will be absorbed by the screen, allowing you to still have a great picture even in bright environments like I have here. And this is how it plays out in real life. I have all my lights turned on at 100%, and with just the projector in the wall, this is what I would consider to be unwatchable. Now remember, this is about worst case scenario with the overhead lights directly above the wall, but as I raise things up, you'll begin to really appreciate what these ambient light rejecting screens are able to do. So the ALR screen is certainly doing a great job, but the other part of the equation is that the AWOL 3500 Pro is one of the brightest UST projectors on the market. So when you combine these two together, it's not surprising how good this looks even with direct overhead lights shining down. For this next example, I have all the lights turned off in my basement and the UST projector is again shining directly on the wall. And while most people would be completely happy with this image quality, it's not until you see it with an ALR screen that you realize just how much better it can be. And like I mentioned earlier, this particular model has a 0.6 gain, which is going to help with black level and contrast performance as well as better viewing angles. Now, Ambilight setups are still probably my favorite types of videos to make, and I would say that the vast majority of people out there still have no idea that this technology exists and how easy it is to set up. And even though I just have this single LED strip at the bottom of the cabinet, it completely changes the atmosphere of the room and adds such a unique experience to your media. So when you put it all together, you get an epic, full immersion Ambilight setup that reacts to the colors on the screen. And this should go without saying, but not everyone's going to like this type of lighting. However, considering videos I've done on Ambilight setups have over 4 million views combined, there's certainly a huge number of people who are interested in creating setups like this. Now, I obviously love it and can't get enough, and I'm already thinking of ways to put LEDs behind the screen and near the top of the ceiling to fill things in. So before leaving you with a ton of final footage of everything in action, I wanted to quickly share my thoughts. Obviously, there's no sugarcoating it, this is a very expensive setup. The UST projector from AWOL is top of the line, the ALR screen is about as nice as it gets, the cabinet is premium in every sense of the word, and the surround sound setup runs laps around my old Klipsch 5.1 system. But I do know there's a ton of people out there like me who have kids, they don't have a space for a dedicated theater, and they can't justify buying expensive equipment when the odds are it'll just get broken. And even though my guess is the main marketing message for cabinets like this are the minimal footprint, I actually think the best marketing for this type of product is exactly what I showcased today. Parents with small children who want a kid-proof setup. Now this all turned out better than I could have ever imagined, and big shout out to Nothing Projector and AWOL for making it happen. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the far too many final results.
We were endless, we would go. City lights, nights so cold. I see you there, you're all I know. I'm holding on, you're letting go. It's been a long time, yeah. It's been a long time. You and me used to be start. Midnight drives, didn't get too far. You slip away, you're all I know. I'm reaching out, you're letting go. We spin around